Hello and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, following the tragic death last week of 15-year-old Junior Nkwele, caused by two teenagers, and with crimes being committed across the country, I hope my show tonight will be a wake-up call for everyone to think seriously about their actions. Why is this all happening, and when is it going to stop? My guests tonight are ex-professional boxer Mark Prince, whose own 15-year-old son was tragically stabbed to death, and also Michael Reed, who ended up paying for his actions by going to prison for armed robbery and kidnapping. Chris Brown will also be joining us later on in the show to share some self-development advice, and we're also going to be featuring a place to visit with your chance to win some tickets from the competition. Now, back to our subject. Who's to blame for this violent culture? Is it the parents, the government? Have you ever carried a weapon or been in a gang? Why did you do that? Are you still in a gang? Or are you concerned parents? I'd really like to hear from you tonight. This is a live show, so it's your opportunity to give us a call on 020-7686-6300. And if you want to send an email as well, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. I want to hear your opinions. Why is this all happening? And how, if it's possible, how can we change things around? Now, to introduce my first guest, let's take a look at this video.
Who is to train them, the former WBO Intercontinental Champion with a professional record of 19 fights, 15 knockouts and only one loss, Mark Prince.
Always through and back.
I'd like to over to you, Mark. Thanks very much.
We're going to work your ass today, boys. Then after that, we're going to sit down and relax and have a good talk about each other's lives and see what we could take from each other and grow from there, yeah? Because I come from the same situation that you guys come from, where, you know, you come to that point in your life where you recognize if you continue going down that road, where's it going to end up? So you're at a crossroads right now, the way I see it, where you got to start making up your minds if you want to continue and it's going to end up going nowhere, or you want to make something of yourself. Let's go!
Well,
You don't plan, what do? You plan to do what? You plan to fail. Let that mental attitude seep through the team. Focus. You want it? That's it, come on. Keep working. Breathe, keep working. I want it. Come on, keep working. Woo! Yeah, yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, now that looks like really impressive stuff, very motivational, but what actually sparked all of this? Let's take a look at this clip as well.
Take a break.
Mark has been brought in for more than the boys realise. 4 years ago, his own son was tragically stabbed to death, and now he's on a mission to eradicate knife crime and stop other people feeling the same pain he has been through.
So going to the hospital and being called into a room to hear news that they couldn't make your son's heart work again. And they opened up his chest and they physically held his heart and pumped it. And I met the man and hugged the man that opened my son's chest and was trying to keep him alive. And he couldn't do it.
Okay, I'd like to welcome Mark Prince. Hi, Mark. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Okay, so tell us a bit about before all this happened. How was your life? What were you doing? How was the boxing going?
The boxing, I was still trying to find myself. I'd had a great boxing career. I'd had 20 professional fights. I'd won 2 junior world titles. I'd rose to #1 in this country as a light heavyweight. I was in the top 10 in most of the governing bodies. Yeah. And I fought for the world title. I was #1 with the WBO. So the world's, you know, was my oyster. I just felt that, you know, I couldn't do anything wrong. And all of a sudden I had an injury to my knee, which I was advised by the consultant that I can't fight at world-class level anymore. And then I didn't know what to do with myself. So, you know, I spent about 2 years healing up. The injury was bad.
Wow, 2 years.
Yeah, and then I didn't know what to do because I never ever thought about, you know, what I was going to do without boxing because there's no reason to. So I was struggling. I was going through a really tough time in my life. And that was from 2000. So in 2006, I had 6 years of just struggling. It was, to me, it was like a
Wasn't
fight.
anything else that you thought you'd be good at? Or?
No, I knew that I loved working with young people. I knew that there was something in me, I had a gift. And when I started talking with young people, they listened.
Yeah.
So in 2001, I think it was, I started doing volunteering youth work for about a year. And even though it was really difficult and I needed money, I kept going through until they realised that I was doing a really good job with the young people, and they gave me a post, and I just carried on working, and I started creating my own training programs and using my boxing to help the young people.
So you still had that link there with
Still
the
had
boxing?
the link.
Because that was your passion, obviously.
Exactly, still used it and was able to merge the two together, my new passion of making my life useful and my my old passion of being in the fight game. And that was really successful and was going well. But at the same time, I still didn't know if that was what I wanted to really do, because obviously you want to get back into the financial bracket that you was able to, that you was at least building to before. So when the call came in 2006 for my daughter, who was babysitting my newest arrival, her little brother, I was actually helping to build this new company that my friend, he's now gone with Dragon's Den. It was actually Laban Rooms, working with the gold plating. And he's now done really successful, and he got a deal on Dragon's Den.
Okay, good.
And but that phone call really put a stop to everything that was going on.
Tell us about your son, first of all, Kyan. What was he doing with his life?
Kyan was just like any other young child growing up. You know, they go through their stages, giving you problems, and you have to go down to school and talk to teachers, tell him off. Sometimes I have to smack him if I saw it necessary, to let him know that I couldn't just let him continue.
But he was really good at football, right?
Excellent, excellent footballer, and the talent was evident from quite early on.
Yeah.
And in his own area, he played with Watlins. He'd come from Edgware, and then he got scouted from Watlins to Queen's Park Rangers. But we had a choice: Arsenal, there was West Ham, and we decided.
So he had a promising future ahead of
Yeah,
him then.
most definitely. And we decided to go with a club that might look after him a little bit more, because Arsenal might have a lot of guys just coming through and they might be expendable, but QPR might see his real talent and invest more time in him. We were right. QPR is a great club. They invested time in Kyan and called us in and said, look, you know, your boy's doing so well. Even though he's 15, we want to put him over to the 18s. Because he's going to outgrow his own age. So I was really proud. I still remember just hugging him outside, giving him a kiss, and just telling him how proud I am of him.
So you said you received a phone call one day. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah. My daughter phoned me, just hysterical on the phone. Kyan's been stabbed. And I was strangely, maybe that's my nature, like I'll try to be calm before I find out what's going on. So I didn't want to go crazy. The news hit me, he's been stabbed, but I didn't want to start thinking the worst straight away. So I said, okay, I'm coming over, I'll pick you up, we'll go down there. But inside was just turmoil going on. But on the outside, I tried to show her that, you know, all right, Dad's got this, let's go. But I said a prayer in my car, and I couldn't say all of it out loud because I wasn't that strong to be able to say the words, but I asked God to save my son and don't let it be detrimental to the point of death. And this is where I said it silently, and I said, but if he is to go, help me to be able to keep going, to deal with it, to accept it. And I carried on driving, but that part was all in my head. But I spoke to God and said that. But later on, I realised how profound that little prayer was at the time in the car, because I didn't know what was coming ahead. And going to the hospital, obviously a lot of the family was already there, his uncles, his mum, and my sister. And when I got in there, it was just quiet. They're just informing that they're waiting. That quietness is horrible, that waiting time. It feels like forever, but it wasn't that long, actually. When the guy come in, you're searching his eyes, you're searching his body language to see the answer before he actually opens his mouth. And but you ain't gonna accept it until you hear it. And then when he said it, and I heard the noise come from Tracy, I heard that noise. I don't know what happened to me. I lost it. I jumped up. I must have been punching and kicking walls, anything. I felt this rage just surge through my body. And I just hit this, I was hitting things, and I don't even know what I was shouting. There was some police there. There was nice guys. They was trying to not, control me or just, in an arresting way, but just trying to help me to be calm. But obviously they understood they couldn't sort of contain me or anything.
When you say rage, Mark,
Yeah.
are you speaking about rage that you'd lost your son, or rage against the people that...
I don't know.
Person,
I don't know. All I know is that something just came out of me. Something came out of me to hear that my son was gone.
It's awful. What did you do after that? After the initial shock?
Yeah.
We could say worn off, but obviously it was hard for a long time after that.
Yeah,
how did you actually cope?
You don't know. You don't. Honestly, there's this poem, Footprints in the Sand, and all I can let people know is that I never had any control of me at the time for ages.
It's okay, take your time. So
And in that time, I think that God was carrying me, because the poem talks about, saying, when the prayer was saying, oh God, where was you? Where was you? And God said, those footprints was me. I was carrying you. And I believed that I was being carried at that time, because I felt that I was losing my mind. I didn't want to eat. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. And listening to Tracy,
but you know
it's
what,
too
Mark?
much for me, man.
After this happened, you did something really, really amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously this is awful what happened, and it really hurt the whole family. But something amazing happened afterwards, and Mark, you're going to be speaking to us about that. I'll just give you a bit of time just to...
Yeah,
okay,
cool.
for you to speak again.
Yeah, you just never know when you're talking about it. You don't know how you're gonna react. I don't, normally I can talk about it, and I don't always have this reaction, but you just don't know how you're gonna react.
This happened 6 years ago, was it?
6 years ago, it doesn't go anywhere.
But we are going to speak about what Mark's done after that, because sort of the initial reaction, maybe if you were a father and you'd gone through this, you probably would have wanted to maybe go and get revenge or kill the person that had done that to your son, or get back in some way. But Mark did something very, very different, and he's going to be speaking to us about that after the break, and you're going to see.
I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter.
I can see that.
So for me, my thing immediately was, you can't take my son, and I'm not going to dish out some punishment to you and let you feel some pain. I'm going to dish out some to you so you can feel what I'm going through, because I need to get some justice.
That was your initial reaction.
That was my initial reaction.
But Mark, we're going to go to a break, and then you're going to tell us how you dealt with that and how you didn't let that take control of your life, because your story is amazing. All right, join us after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show. We're here speaking with Mark Prince, and he's been telling us just before the break about when he heard the terrible news that his son had actually died from a fatal stab wound. And we also have joining us Michael Reed, who also he had quite a bad life as well. He actually ended up in prison for armed robbery and kidnapping, and we're going to be speaking to him in just a moment. But first I'd like to go back to Mark, because Mark, you're going to be telling us, you said just before that your initial reaction wasn't one of like forgiveness or anything. You actually wanted to go and sort those people out, right?
Anyone that came, I just wanted his address, go to the door. First one that come to the door, I didn't care who it was, mum, dad, don't matter.
You wanted revenge?
I just wanted to hurt someone for doing what they'd done to my family and my son.
Mm-hmm. But then what was the turning point? How did you manage to change all those negative emotions that you had into something so positive, which we're going to be speaking about in just a moment? How did you control that and turn that around?
I keep telling people, and they ask me, like, I can't just say, oh, I know how this is how it was done, and and then they can pat me on the back and say, well done. No, I keep giving praise to God, the Most High. Why? Because I never had the strength to do this. The 3 court cases before I got to hear them say that this guy's guilty of the crime, and those court cases are a massive ordeal. I didn't realize what going through court was. It's one thing someone doing something, it's another thing proving it. Justice ain't justice, it's a whole different cat and mouse game. And I realized that when I went to court, and you just go nuts when you go to court, because you're expecting, as an ordinary citizen, you're expecting justice, and then you just hear all these game playing, and this guy who's got some degree in this talking.
But he was found guilty.
Oh, it was a mess, but he was found guilty.
So was it then after that you actually...
But it was during the trial
that
my change happened. There was one time when I messed up one of the cases by saying something to a juror, and I had such a bad day because the juror kept talking about he needed to hear this witness again, and that was an ordeal for us. So your job's to listen, that's all you're doing. So I just wanted him to do his job. So asking him to come out again, even the judge had to say something about it. So I saw them at the station. I said, do you realise how much you're hurting the family by... And they've run back to court, and then they've thrown it out, and they had to start it all over again. But on the way home...
So you realised then that you had to do something positive?
Yes, because what happened, even Tracy turned on me. Because obviously it's not her fault, she's going through so much, she just wants it over. So then she got upset because she had to start the whole court case again. And I felt really ostracised, I felt alone. I just felt like there was no one. And I remember going home, and only my brother was with me. He followed me all the way home and sat down. And I cried out to God, and I tell you, I cried so hard, my heart and soul came out, and I said to God at that time, you take this. I can't do this. Every day I'm envisioning killing this guy. I must have killed him 100 times already, and it feels like it was eating away at me, because that's not who I am as a human being. And I just wanted to do this. And when I said this to God, and I said, you take this, I can't take this anymore. You deal with this. What is it that you want from me? It was like a weight was lifted off me. And it was like, when I finished crying, it was like 100 pounds was on my back, and it just got taken off. From that day, I began a new journey. Wow. And when I went into court, I was able to look at his family without scowling. I used to just try to look for an excuse, say something so I can let off and have an excuse. And I went in there, and I'd see his family, and my face would just be ordinary, and I'd sit down and I'd see the guy, and my face wasn't scowling, and inside wasn't being drawn and torn apart.
There was something happened inside.
Something happened, and it happened from my house.
Tell us about the foundation that started up.
Well, the foundation started when I was ITV wanted to start doing some coverage on what was going on with the court case, and they gave me the film to do some home filming of how I felt. So I was doing a little diary. I was building this documentary. And then because I kept always saying to God, look, what is it? I know you haven't just allowed my son to go for no reason. I know. So you gotta show me. And then I felt as if he was calling me out to do something. You need to be proactive. You need to take part in this. Do what you haven't even thought about doing. Getting involved and helping the same young people that are messed up.
And you
that
already
have
had
caused...
you already had a talent in that. You already had a talent working with young people and helping
Yes,
young people.
but I didn't think about that. I just thought, this is the way I looked at it. I thought, I'm helping these kids and this is what they've done. You know, these kind of kids have done to my son, and I'm out there trying to help them out of that lifestyle. That was my reaction. But I felt God was impressing on my heart that, no, I want you to go out and help them and turn it around. And I want you to use your rough background that you've had, all the things that you've always been confused, like, why come my life went this way and I'd done these things, and it took boxing at the age of 21 when guys start boxing at 12 and 11 and, you know, young ages like that. I started to box at 21. I was taking drugs, I was drinking, you know, I was running around with guys doing criminal activities, earning my money in illegal ways, however I needed to up until 21, because I ran away from home at 15. So I was homeless for a while, and I felt that my only way of earning a living was to do those sort of bad things. And I wanted to have a good life, but I didn't feel that there was any other way for me to have that good life.
Talking about doing bad things, I'm just going to go to Michael as well, because I want to hear about to tell everyone about the foundation and what you do. Let's just go to Michael. Michael, welcome to the show as well. Now, you got into some bad stuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
Tell us briefly about what you used to do.
Just
Is it too much? Can you shorten it?
No, basically it was like what Mark was saying. You know, you had friends who was doing bad things, who was making money, who was committing crime, robberies.
Did you carry weapons?
When I was younger, I used to carry a knife.
Did you ever use it?
No, I didn't actually need to use it. I would normally fight. I had a lot of fights, a lot of fights, but didn't really use weapons. I was always mindful of what I was doing, even though I wasn't. I don't know if that makes sense. I remember, for instance, just beating a guy, me and a group of friends. There was an altercation and we beat this guy, and I remember my friend had a bat around his back and was continually hitting this guy. And I just remember being so calm and...
Didn't you feel guilty though? Didn't you feel like wasn't anything inside
I remember saying that, not the head. I remember saying to my friend, like, not the head. Don't beat him in his head.
So you had a bit of concern then?
I had concern, like I never used to see red. You know, I never used to lose it. As some of my other friends would totally lose it. Like, you know,
they didn't enjoy.
Yeah. It wasn't like enjoyment.
Why do it then?
I thought it was necessary. It was necessary. It was, you know, we was talking a bit off stage, off camera, and we were saying that, you know, sometimes you do things because of the priorities that you set for yourself. Yeah. And what was more important for me back then was my name, was who I was my reputation. You know, you never want to be seen as that person who's afraid, who's scared. Do
you think that's what the problem is then with the youth nowadays? Is it all about the reputation, the name, and that's why they're just going out doing whatever?
Partly, yeah, definitely. Definitely it's to do with, you know, how they're perceived. Nobody wants to be perceived as the weakling, as, you know, nobody wants to be perceived as poor. Yeah, that's why you see, for instance, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, you know, the brand, but they always have this brand of belt. You know, they have the Gucci belt or the Louis belt, but they live at home. So you're wearing a £200 belt, you know, you got a £400 pair of jeans to show that I'm this rich guy, but you live at home.
Did you have that?
Who, me? I had, you know, the fashion of my days was like Moschino and
I got
Versace.
caught up in it hard.
We had those things. We did those things.
You couldn't have that in prison, though, could you? When you went to prison?
In prison, no, you didn't. There were certain luxuries you could no longer have. You know, you could even have your own clothes in some prisons, but for what reason? You know, it got to a stage where...
Michael, tell us about the worst elements of prison, because you probably weren't expecting to end up there. Maybe you were kind of living a life that...
No way.
You know, this is great, I'm just beating people up, I'm robbing people.
If you expect to end up in prison, you wouldn't do what you did. That's what I always say. Nobody thinks that they will get caught. I sat in prison and I heard a million sob stories. If I had gone left, if I hadn't you know, gone out this day, if I hadn't sold drugs to this police officer or whatever, nobody thinks they're going to
not
be
like
caught.
I shouldn't have done it in the first place.
No,
at
no,
all.
no, no way. You know, I always
great.
heard that, you know, when I get out, I'm going to be smart, I'm going to be a smarter type of criminal, I'm going to do this. You know, if you go in robbing handbags, you come out a master jewel thief. You associate with other criminals who you learn. Prison is like criminal school in a sense. But
What was the worst part of being in prison?
the worst part wasn't the physical side of it. It's not, you know, it's the mental side. It's the lack of power, the lack of being your boss, the lack of, you know, making your decisions. You know, you're not free. People always talk about the things that you get. You know, you get, oh, prison's not tough enough. They have PlayStation, they have this, they have that. It's not a deterrent. But you're not free. I don't know how to explain that, but a human nature, you have to be free, and when that's taken away from you, there's no greater pain. You're not free. You can't make your own decisions.
So you're in prison for how long?
I actually served 5 years, 5 months.
And you've turned your life around now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Happily married?
Yeah. Everything
Working?
Yeah.
Not carrying weapons?
No, not carrying weapons, not doing anything like that, you know. I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, I'm trying, but even today, you know, the repercussions of that, there's still repercussions till today from those decisions that I made. You know, there's still things that are difficult. It's very hard for me to find a job. I had to create my own job. I had to find a way to do something for myself. You know, it's hard to stay out of that environment, that lifestyle, because you're so used to, if you need money, go and make money. You know, it just becomes in you, a way of doing things.
Mark, what would you say to the youngsters, some young people maybe watching now, and they're carrying weapons with them, and they're worried about reputation and stuff? What would you say to them right now? You can look in that camera if you want.
Think. Just think. You know, you can carry a gun, you can carry a knife, but when you're in that situation and you're forced to use it, what are you going to do? You know, and sometimes it's the stupidest things. I've heard of people killing people over a 10-pound bag of weed because that person didn't want to be perceived as a punk, as an idiot, as you can't take my things and not pay me. But you're going to throw away your life or 30 years of your life or however many years of your life. And then when you come out from prison...
And ruin the other person's life and family.
I'm first focused on you, just you, because you're going to destroy your own life. You're going to destroy, you know, when you do come out of prison. Yeah, it's not peaches and cream. It's not you did your sentence and that's it. Society accepts you. It doesn't work that way. Then you've got to think about your family. You know, you've got to think about your mum who's going shopping and the other parents are pointing their finger at your mum to be, that's the mum of the murderer, that's the mum of the killer, that's the mum of, you know, this person, that person. Then think about that person that you just took their life and their family because of a 10-pound bag of weed, because you don't want to be perceived as an idiot. Yeah, you prefer to take that person's life. Think.
Thank you.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, you can, yeah. We've got about 3 minutes left, Mark. I really want you to talk about the foundation as well.
All right.
So go ahead.
Well, I'm still going to add to that because
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
important
Yeah.
that young people get to understand, yeah? Number one, you could be me. You could be sitting in my place, God forbid. If you don't want to be, one of the things you need to understand is you're a part of the problem. If you're repping your ends, if you're going on with colours and gang banging and postcode and areas, you're a part of the problem. If you're going on like a bad man and robbing other little youths and people that you think you can easily get away with, girls, boys, youngers, whatever, you're a part of the problem. And you need to think about, would you really want your youth to grow up in the world that you helped to create? Because that's what you're doing right now. You're creating a world that your youth's gonna be feeling the actions of that you had a lot to do with. Because I feel that we're responsible, my generation is responsible for a lot of the things that are going on now. Everyone's talking about you lot, how the youths are this and the youths are that. But really, who brought you up? The parents need to look at how come your youths are running around on the street at whatever time. When you finish school, you need to be inside, taking care of your business. I think parents have lost their control and authority. They're scared to do little things like take the phone off their youth. I take my phone off my youth. Phone time done, you finish. I got the phone so I can contact you and know where you are. You're home and all you're doing is on the phone all day and all night. Nah, there's youths that's on their phone. When I teach these kids and I mentor these youths, they don't go to bed till what time in the morning? Because they're on their BBs. How are you gonna get up to school to learn anything without no good night's sleep? All these little things impact. If we really wanna get shit and we ain't got the time, about how youths are behaving.
I think we're going to have to do another show with you, Mark.
Seriously, because I'll go deep on this, because I've been working on this from how long now, and I've worked with a lot of youth, so
Tell us
I've
about
learned
what
a
you
lot.
do. Tell us about how you're helping youth.
I'm helping youth, obviously, one, by using the boxing. Obviously, it helps the young people, because I'm credible because of what I've done.
Yeah.
So I don't need to do all that hard work sometimes. When I come into school and they find out that I've done boxing, there's a respect level there. Then they find out that I'm from the streets, I'm from where they are, I talk their language, I understand them. They love that. So straight away, I'm in there. They're all ears. Once you've got a kid all ears and you keep it real with young people, because young people, they might not have the skills that an adult might have mentally and have diplomas and whatnot and paperwork, but they've got a natural ability to know who's real and who ain't. They know if you're faking. They know I'm not faking. They know I really love them.
Yeah.
And they know I want the best for them by how I speak to them and how I treat them. I treat all of them the same.
Mark,
no
I'm so
preferential
sorry. We have to go
treatment.
to a break. I want to talk to you more, but we're going to
Break
go to a break. But just so you all know, some of the things that Mark's foundation does. It's called the Cayenne Prince Foundation, right? Okay, you deliver programs and workshops to schools, prisons and other establishments for young people.
Yeah,
you educate them. You educate them about the dangers of knife and gun crime, raising awareness about the true and devastating effects of knife culture. You run boxing and fitness programs, creating outlets for aggression and building discipline, which is what you were mentioning as well. You create and provide more positive opportunities for young people, and you provide motivational and inspirational talks for young people to aspire and fulfill their true potential. I want to go on with this, but I can't because they're talking in my ear. I have to go to a break. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining us. Thank you, Michael. I think it's great what you're doing, and all the best with, you know, all the aims and stuff of your charity.
We need some help, because like we're doing all this work and we're not really getting the support, and it should be supported more from definitely the government, who are saying we need some help. What's happening with these young people? What can we do? I'm doing something. How come you're not helping them?
If you want more information about the foundation as well, you can also, what's the website address?
www.Kayan.org.
And the information will also be up on the Chrissy B website, chrissybshow.tv. Join us after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show. Do you know what? We had this place to visit to show you, which was the London Duck Tours. But I don't really feel like showing it right now. I want to show another video of Mark's, and this is how he's actually impacted the people that come to him, that come to the Cayenne Prince Foundation. So take a look at this, and I promise I'll show the duck tours another time, okay? Have a look at this.
What I'm just trying to say, guys, life can bang you up. Life can bang you up. What you gonna do? You're gonna throw in the towel? You're gonna cut your wrist? You're gonna drink yourself into a stupor? You're still living. You still got life. I'm telling you, bruv, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I wanna shake your hand and hug you individually. Good man. I know I can tell that you're not used to embracing and hugging. Yeah, I know that. I can see that and I can feel that. And that's all right, bruv. And maybe you need some of that. My man, you're on a new journey, bruv. You're on a new journey. You feel me? Be a great leader, bruv.
I'm not normally speechless, but you got me speechless.
Beautiful, man. But you can do this. Drinking is your thing, isn't it?
That was it.
Look at me and tell me, drinking is your thing.
That was it. But since I started with it, guys, there's a new direction.
I see it in your eyes. Something's happening for you today, bruv. You know that, innit? Am I wrong? Nah, definitely. Definitely, innit?
Joining me now, I have Chris Brown, who's going to be sharing some advice as well, aren't you? Powerful stuff,
Hi,
Chris.
Chrissy.
What did you think?
Powerful.
You're speechless, aren't you?
I was watching from over there and I found it speechless. But, you know, I really take my hat off to Mark and Michael, especially as Mark was saying, because what they've done is taken a situation and instead of going down with it, turn it around to something positive. There's many of us out there who'd go through a situation, we don't know how we'd handle it. We really don't know. And we got to look at the people in life who actually do these things and mentor others. That's a big sacrifice. It's not just a game of saying, well, look, I want a gold medal for this. It's actually putting your heart and soul in it and turn around a situation and keeping it positive. Yeah.
Because a lot of people in that situation would do the complete opposite, wouldn't they? They'll go and get revenge. They'll do something just as negative, and that just carries on. That just keeps the negativity going.
It just goes on,
and goes, and that it never ends. That's why we're having all these problems. So if there were more people like Mark and other positive people that they make something great out of a really tragic situation, the world would be different today.
I mean, you've got to look at it in a way that we actually need more people like that to do something about it and be very real about it. Not dress it up and pretty and say, oh, this is what I do. Isn't this wonderful at the end of the day? Really actually go down there to the heart of it and deal with the actual issues. And I'm totally in line with everything that was said after, the responsibility, to actually take responsibility and say, well, yes, I was actually a part of that. That's the beginning of change. And once you know, and it's not only on that scale as well, it says an individual in life. You've got to get to the point of acknowledging what you actually do. Is it contributing? Is it taken away? What have you done yourself to make things better? Instead of complaining about it, because all complain about it and talk about somebody else should do it. We all do that. Oh, it's them. But who are them? Yes, exactly. So taking responsibility and doing something about it. You know, it's funny because it's ironic because I was going to actually talk about the whole idea of mentoring.
Oh, okay.
And looking at that as well, it took it to another level. I mean, could you think of people that you've met in life that have actually mentored you in some way or another, knowingly or unknowingly? Because I can think of many. Along the way that I've met many friends, and funny enough, similar to what I'm saying, that I've actually lost along the way as well. That you look back and you realise, wow, you know, you've learned quite a lot from that individual. And you might not even realise it. There's people along the way that make little imprints of you who make up who you are by the end of it. We've got our genetic imprints, we've got our parents' imprints, but our life experiences as well. We have different imprints along the way. Some bad, some good. What we do with them after and take responsibility is what counts.
It's up to us, isn't it?
It's totally up to us.
We can take the bad example and use that and say, well, I'm going to do the same, or I'm going to have a grudge, or I'm going to react negatively, or you can see that bad example and say, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to teach others and show others a better way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of situations where we say it's either the family makeup or the breakdown of the family, but that doesn't mean you have to actually do the same thing again after.
Exactly.
You can think, well, I'm not going to do what my dad did. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm not going to do what my mother did and do the opposite.
It's inside of you, isn't it?
It's inside of you. It's all about choice.
You can decide what you do.
Yes. You decide what you're going to do. You decide the life you're going to go down, the road you're going to go, the success you're going to touch as well. You decide that. And when I say success, I always mention success doesn't have to mean a big house, a big car, the watch, everything else, the clothes. Success comes in many ways, and it depends where you set your level at and what makes you happy at the individual, and not worrying about what other people expect of you at the end of the day. This whole week for myself has actually been about mentoring. I've been in a few companies, and funny enough, it was this corporate company this week, and I've been there talking about mentoring, and it really hit me today, coming here while we're doing this as well. And I was thinking, well, it's funny because in that company on one level, and then here on another level, and then out there with individuals and families on another level, all mentoring, it's needed in one way or another. And when you think about somebody who you choose as a role model, it's got to be somebody who's actually walked that walk themselves, who's actually done it. Now, to switch that a bit, talking about if we were talking in a company now, talking about a company, and we need mentors. The reason why we actually got mentors in companies is because it retains more of the new people coming in. Whereas sometimes you're actually put on a job role and you're matched up with someone and say, right, follow what they do and just do what they do. And it doesn't work. People leave after a while.
Yeah.
In this situation, it's actually nurturing the individual, bringing them up, learning about them, guiding them, showing them different areas. That's in business mentoring. In life as well, as just mentioning just now, using your attributes, the boxing and everything, which those youths out there would understand is exactly the same thing. And mentoring is much needed. I'm going to go through a little acronym as I normally go through.
Yeah, you like your acronyms,
right?
don't
I
you?
like my little acronyms
on
now
then.
and then. And it's to do with the word mentor. It should come, well, right. Mentor. Now, when you think of mentor, we start off with M, right? So it's M-E-N-T-O-R, right? Okay. So M. M is modeling. Modeling. Now, when we're talking about modeling, we are talking about not the sort of modeling where the catwalk issues and everything, right? We're talking about modeling an individual, working out how to actually do what this person does. We do it in coaching is NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And that actually talks a lot about modeling. Following, if you're somebody who's in a field of work that you want to do and that success there, you've got to look at how they do it. What is in their character? What's their nurture? And kind of follow that path as well. And it should be, you should actually get there a lot quicker than actually going the long route round. So that's the M. When we talk about E, we're talking about encouragement. It's needed, encouragement. The worst thing is to grow up in an environment and not have encouragement, being told that you're not good enough. That's not good enough. When you try to do something, present it, ignore it. That's the worst thing you can do. So whether it be a young person or somebody in work, they need that encouragement. If you don't get that encouragement, it turns into insecurity.
Yeah.
Right? So insecurity, no belief in yourself. No belief in yourself, underachiever. What happens to that? That energy goes somewhere or another in the end, trying to prove yourself in other ways.
So that's obviously should start at home, shouldn't it?
That should start at home from day
sometimes
one.
parents maybe like they don't realise the little negative comments that they might make, even as a joke.
Oh, yes.
Even as a joke, you might sort of say to your daughter, I don't know, you little fatty or something like I used to hear. Just little comments, but it really like
It has an effect.
takes away the confidence of that child. And I think sometimes parents need to kind of think about what they say before, and even teachers sometimes. You can't just say, even these little comments, these funny comments, it affects them.
Oh, definitely.
And actually
definitely.
some will say really negative stuff on purpose as well.
Well, words have power. That's the truth
They
about
do.
it. You know the old saying, what is it? Sticks and stones won't break my bones, but words would never hurt me.
They do.
They do.
They do
Okay?
hurt.
Think about what you're saying, all right?
Yeah.
They do hurt. So think about who you're encouraging, the young ones around you. We're talking about even in a work environment, someone work with you. Think about the words you use. It makes all the difference. Now we're down to T. Sorry, we're not down to T, we're down to N. Spell mental, right? Right, we're down to N, and when we talk about N, we're talking about nurturing. And nurturing, just the same as, let's say, a plant. You care for it, you bring it up, you guide it in a different direction, the way you want it to grow. Exactly the same thing. Nurturing an individual, bringing them up in the right way, right? Because you've got to think about it. If they've chose you as their mentor, they're actually looking up to you. They're looking up to you and they're respecting you and thinking, I want to be like you. I want to do what you do. So you've got to nurture them.
Make sure you're a good example as well.
Exactly. You've got to be a good example. Right. Now, here's we go to the T. I want to jump to the T before, didn't I? All right. T is about tutoring because you become their teacher. And someone who's a mentor should be someone, as I said, who's actually done the walk already. Right? It should be someone, let's say in work, it should be someone professional who's been there for quite a while, so they know all the ropes, so you won't fall down the same track that they had to go to make mistakes along the way. Same as in life as well. So you become their teacher, their tutor that they look up to. All right. O, opportunity. Opportunities come through connections as well at the end of the day. Reason being is, if this person has that experience and they looked up as a mentor, they will have been in a field for quite a while. So they know all the ins and outs and where the opportunities are. It's a better way of actually getting through that door than trying the other way for yourself, because they'll know all the opportunities, and because they've known your character and who you are, they can connect you to the right person and where to point you. So that's a really important one as well. And the last one we're talking about is R. And the R is, which I always promote, relationship, because I love communication, right? Right, okay, so that's my one. Relationship. Form strong, good relationships with this individual. On a work sense, it's form a relationship, but there's got to be boundaries, because you're not going to have this person calling you up any time of the day, any hour, and then it turns into a situation where it might be a family issue at home, but that's not work, is it? So they're calling up, telling about it, and you end up looking after the whole family as well at the same time, right? So there's got to be boundaries in that relationship. Now let's talk about outside of work situation, the everyday situation. You still got to set boundaries to a certain extent, because when you're mentoring someone, what you're doing, you're building them up to the point where they can go off and be strong for themselves.
Not be attached to you.
That's right.
That will defeat the whole object, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you do mentor someone and they're, as you said, attached to you all the time, maybe you're doing it the wrong way and you've taken away their power instead, and you made them dependable on you. You're supposed to build them up to go and do exactly what you did in a stronger way, even better than yourself. So that's the whole idea of being a mentor.
Okay, and there should be more mentors out there.
There should be a lot more mentors out there. I'm sure there's a lot who's thinking about it now after tonight.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chris.
And
Pleasure.
if you leave with anything from this program today, please, please, please think before you act, because every action has a consequence. And start to do positive things, start to encourage people. If you're sorted yourself out, first of all, obviously you have to do that first. If you're sorted out, look to help other people as well. Don't just be self-absorbed and just think about your own life. Look around you, there's people that need help everywhere. It might be like the neighbour down the road, or the young, you know, the youths that are just there doing nothing. Why don't you talk to them? Why don't you try and help them in some way, guide them in the right direction? There's so many youth groups, there's so many different things, positive things that are going on, but it takes other people to care enough to do it and not wait for someone else to do it.
Right.
We've all got a responsibility in our community.
Stop calling it them.
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
Time.
It's
them
us.
People.
It's all about us. We need to
We're
do
all a part
something.
of it. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, we've reached the end of the program, unfortunately. I think we needed a 3-hour show today. You know, I really wanted to get into more stuff, but anyway, maybe next time. Yeah. Okay, so Friday's show is going to be all about modern day superheroes. So that's going to be a really interesting program as well. And if you want more information, all the guest details that we've had tonight will be up on the website as well, chrissybshow.tv. We're going to have the videos up as well in a couple of days, and on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch the program or get in touch with any of the guests, you can do that through there as well. So it's been a wonderful evening, and I'll see you again on Friday. Bye-bye for now.